Well, our coolant leak has returned. We got a mess. I think it's a sign of a bigger problem. Stay tuned. So we have, this is our 2003 Ford Excursion, and we were doing a cooling system test with our gauge here because we've been blowing that little blue hose from the EGR cooler to the oil cooler. And then I just put a new one on 3-4 months ago, and now we're leaking a fluid again. So I was wondering if the head gasket might have blown. Checking this gauge, it got up to 16. Wouldn't go over 16, so that means our cap's working, but we are building pressure. The only code I have is, when we were doing the test drive, we noticed all of a sudden we got a real rough running, like it was missing. So we brought it home in case we had an injector stuck open. It is smoking a lot more now, black smoke under acceleration. So we brought it home, hooked up the computer, and I got a number 7 contribution error. We did the injector key on, engine off injector test, and all 8 injectors are working. So number 7 is, you can hear it and get clicking. We can disable the injector and turn it on, and you can hear the engine tone change slightly, but it does have a shake in it. So then I'm running my cylinder contribution test. This is on my Autel Maxis scanner, but it's pretty evident number 7 is not contributing at all. I can probably select the cylinder to kill this again, huh? So select number 7, and then we got to disable that cylinder. RPMs, nothing really changes when we do that. Now I enable the cylinder, nothing. So let's try a different cylinder so we can see the difference. We'll do cylinder 4. Okay, we'll disable cylinder 4. We can hear it different, and we can see it. Enable. RPMs come smooth back out a little bit. We can clear that line. So yeah, we definitely lost number 7. So I'm guessing the head gasket failed. Number 7, which is, I believe, passenger side rear cylinder, and that's where I've been leaking a lot of coolant. Looks like the Excursion's going down. Don't know what we're gonna do now. All right. Since the Excursion is down right now due to a blown head gasket, still got a lot of road grime and salt from the winter. We're in middle to end of March right now, so we're going to go ahead and pressure wash the underbody, clean the engine, and wash the outside just to get all that grunk and crap off. And it's always nicer to work on a cleaner vehicle. So this will be basically the start of our excursion build. This was not scheduled for this soon. We were going to finish the F450, but family took a vote and said we need the excursion. It's just so comfortable for long road trips, family hauler, and to go pick up things to tow that need to be towed. So what we're going to do today, like I said, pressure wash the bottom side, clean the engine. Not thorough, just a good heavy degreasing of it, hopefully. Wash the outside, then go through the inside, make sure there's nothing that needs to be transferred to the other vehicle. It's supposed to be in the 80s today. Beautiful weather, so we're going to try to take care of it before the wind gets too bad. There's our mountains. Yeah, hopefully you enjoy this, and this is going to be kicking off the first series of the excursion build. Stay tuned to see what we got planned. You know, been collecting parts and got a good plan of attack. I think it's going to be a great build. It's going to make the excursion better than it was when it was new. Alright, we got the motor all cleaned up. Got the heavy stuff off. A little easier. Enjoyable to work on. She cleans up pretty good. Alright, we'll fire it up, let it run for a bit, warm up, and dry off the motor so we don't get any corrosion issues. And we'll wash the outside of the truck. Okay, the wind's not too bad today, so I figured I'd do a little description or discussion about the plans with the excursion. Now that we got a blown head gasket, I really don't want to drive it unless it's an emergency. We have the Lincoln, see over there, for our backup vehicle. So as I said earlier, family decided they wanted this fixed before the F450. This is our family trip rig, family hauler, everything. It's the go-to truck. Everybody likes riding in it first, better or best. So, okay, so trying to clear off my driveway so I can grade it. We got company coming in to spray some weed control on the driveway and the backyard here. So we're clearing out around the shop. But have a little discussion about the Excursion. So what's the plan? Well, here in a little bit I'll show you the F350 donor truck I have. So we'll be doing a F350 axle suspension swap. So I'm putting the rear springs, rear axle, front suspension, probably the whole frame section on that front section. So I get the coil over front suspension, larger brakes front and rear, slightly wider. So this should give the Excursion better handling, ride, towing ability, better braking, sharper turning radius, all that good stuff. Excuse me, dust is getting to me. So with that being said, it also came with a 05, I believe it's 05, 06, we'll go look at it, 6 liter. It's got about 125,000 miles on it. So this is an 03 Excursion. It's got the smaller water pump, the weaker high pressure oil pump. I did upgrade this one, but yeah, we're gonna swap it over to the 05, 06 engine, and then we'll go through and put studs on it, new Ford gaskets, remote oil cooler, remote oil filter setup. Probably use the turbo that's on this truck since it's only 2 years old. We'll pull it apart, clean it, and get it ready. But yeah, we'll plan on putting up, basically updating everything, new standpipes and dummy plugs, STC fitting on the 6 liter, so we know it's all up to date with all the latest Ford updates, international updates. My plan is to also run a regulated fuel return on it and get rid of the Ford fuel regulator. Obviously the remote oil filter, we'll get rid of the Ford oil filter housing setup. Let's see, probably go through and put new glow plug harness, check everything else out on it. Unfortunately, these injectors are just over 2 years old on this one. I won't be able to, they use a different injector on the 05 and up, from what I can tell. So I'll have to buy new injectors for that one. Gonna swap the water pump over to a metal impeller, so that's not an issue. This one's already got, the Excursion's already got an aluminum radiator, aluminum intercooler, so we're good there. It's got an upgraded alternator. But it'll be interesting. I do not have a lift, so how this is going to work, we'll have to kind of go with the flow, see what we can do. I'll be buying a plasma cutter to get everything ready. But yeah, so the plan, I always said the front and rear axles, once we have everything off, we're going to clean it, maybe do some rust proofing on it. It will be getting, I'll have to get bigger wheels. I picked up a set, I started picking up parts when I got the F350 donor truck. So I went and picked up some 2018 18-inch wheels, so it'll clear the new brakes because they're bigger. So I will have to get some new tires. I want to go with an all-terrain. I had probably one more year left on these Toyo MTs, so I knew it was coming to the end. But yeah, I want to put some aftermarket shocks on it. Should sit up a little higher. I'm going to take some before and after measurements, basically current height, ground clearance, see if we can figure out a turning radius test, and then I'll do some axle articulation as well. I've got some mounds around the property. We should be able to articulate the axle enough and get all those measurements before, and then once we do the suspension swap, we'll do it again and see, you know, how much higher it sits, how much tighter turning circle, if there's any articulation gain or loss. Also want to put updated mirrors on it. I do have a busted windshield, so I have to replace that at the end. But yeah, I'd update the mirrors. Probably this spring we're also going to gut the interior and just go through it, clean everything. I need to put new leather seat covers on the front seats at the very minimum. I'd like to put some extra sound deadening material in it, just to make it that much more comfortable, make it better than it was when it came off the factory lot. I need to replace the radio in it. The CD player does not work, which is a bummer. The only way we can listen to CDs if we put it in the DVD player. So we're gonna look at updating that. I want something with some kind of GPS navigation. I have a CB that my brother-in-law gave me too, CB radio, so I'll probably mount that somewhere. I want to put a rear bumper on it with a rear tire carrier, so I can get the spare tire out of the back of the Excursion and give us that much more room in the cargo area. See if I'm thinking I want to probably put a lift pump on it. I haven't decided which one I'm going to go with, but yeah, with the regulated fuel return, I'll be eliminating that secondary fuel filter on the engine filter setup. So I get a lift pump, it usually comes with better filtration anyways, and it'll act as backup. I'll try to probably plumb it to where my factory fuel pump is a backup to the lift pump if it ever fails. So updated I'm going to look for some good off-road shocks. If you have any suggestions on any equipment for this, let me know. I'm going to do oil cooler, same oil coolers I did with my F250's 2007, with the oil temp switch, to where it will trigger that fan automatically. I think on a 2003, the computer they programmed the fan to kick on way too hot. I think it doesn't seem to kick on until engine and oil temperatures up around 225. I just don't like that. So I'll have it kicking on around 210, 212 is my goal. Yeah, just do a good thorough cleaning on the inside. We have not had this truck detailed. We've detailed a lot of our other vehicles, so everybody's excited about getting in there, pulling carpet out, pressure washing everything, cleaning it. Like I said, put some sound deadening down, fix the leather, give it the attention it needs. Just have some background on it. We bought this truck about 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago now, February 2019. We paid $4,500 for it. It's a 2003 Ford Excursion 4x4 with a 6-liter 5-speed automatic. As soon as the guy put it up for sale, according to him anyways, the number 3 injector failed on it. He thought it was just a wiring connector, but we got it home, tested everything, and verified it was a faulty injector. So we went ahead and replaced that one injector and drove it from Nevada to Dallas and back. The only issues it gave us was the EGR valve seized up on us, so we got a code on that. Other than that, it ran great. Probably about 1,000 miles after we got back from that trip, the oil cooler ruptured. So I was actually still had our 2007 3/4 ton Suburban. So once we sold it, then we decided to fix this one. So I just went ahead and put a factory Ford oil cooler in it, EGR cooler, EGR valve, and and then ended up having to, while I was doing that, the other injector, I think we lost 3 other injectors on it. So I ended up replacing all 8 injectors, well 7 after, because I already replaced the number 3. So did that. That's when we put the updated radiator, intercooler, alternator, new batteries, and a turbo at that time too, because the old one was just so pitted. So that allowed us to run this thing hard. So in about 2.5-3 years, we put 45,000+ miles on it. So, and it's been we've towed everything from the light duty ATV trailer all the way up. Most recent thing we towed was a 2005 F450 flatbed, and that was probably, the truck handled it fine, but it was just unbalanced weight because they had pulled the motor, and that flatbed was like a 14-foot flatbed, so it had a lot of weight on the back side of the trailer, which couldn't go over 50 miles an hour without feeling like I was gonna lose control. So yeah, it's been a good truck. We're looking forward to giving it some attention. If you got any suggestions, comments, leave them down below. We're definitely curious. You know, I'm looking at different brands of studs now. I used the ARP on my last one, was happy with it. Like everything, prices have gone up. But yeah, if you got any suggestions or recommendations, put it in the comments below. If you want us to talk about something specific, let me know. We're going to try to detail this as much as possible. Right now I'll just be gathering parts for it, just because everything's on back order, it seems like, so I want to get as much parts. I already got the seals, U-joints for the front axle and ball joints, so I'll probably be able to rebuild those on the new axle ahead of time. But the other issue I have, we got too much stuff in my shop, so we can only get one project in there at a time. So we're going to build about 3 storage sheds just behind the shop, so we can get some of that stuff in there, and then that'll allow us to start working on this and this excursion. So let me go show you the donor frame. All right, here's the donor truck. I guess this is a 2006 F350. The badge. So there's a lot of benefits to this one over the 03. It's a low mileage engine, so we're gonna still go through it, reseal the bed plate, do a good inspection on it. I expect it ran when I pulled it on the property and bought it. Don't know much about transmission. I'm gonna go through either this transmission or the one that's in the Excursion, excuse me, and just put new oil seals and clutches in it. I'm thinking I'm doing some type of a shift kit in it just to make it last that much longer. So, but yeah, this is it. This is the F350 front suspension. So we'll take it off from here, cut the frame from here, and insert it into the truck. So use the axles, bigger brakes, and then we'll also take the rear axle and springs. Just won't use the overload spring, that'll come off. So we'll put the F350 springs and axles underneath the Excursion. We have matching axle widths. And I'm probably gonna put some airbags with cradles on the rear, just because we do have heavy, you know, we're a family of 6 plus 2 heavy Mastiff dogs. So, and then if you ever end up having to hook up to a trailer that doesn't have a weight distribution hitch on it, then it's nice to be able to keep it level as possible. But we'll have to do some modifications. It'll be interesting. Like I said, if you've done it before, you got comments or recommendations, suggestions, things that'll help, definitely appreciate it. This is going to be quite the project, and I'm excited. Family's excited to get on it. We'll try to do the best recording as we can with it. That's pretty much it. This is the donor truck. I'm building one of my sheds over here, getting ready to build the form and get some of that stuff out of there. We're pretty excited. This kind of pushes the Excursion up to the front of the line. So stay tuned. Again, subscribe so you can stay updated on the progress of this build and the others. Thanks for watching.